try. Good afternoon, everyone. I want to welcome you here to Laverne City Hall as we celebrate the 50th anniversary of our city's incorporation. 50 years ago today, back Tuesday, February 1st, 1972, our city was incorporated, and that began the journey of Laverne. Today, you're going to hear many stories about Laverne's past, present, and future, and we're going to start off with Mr. David Waldron. Mr. David Waldron is with Waldron Enterprises, and he is the son of the city's first mayor, Mayor Vester Waldron. Y'all would please welcome him.
Good afternoon. I didn't realize I was the first on the agenda. Thank you. I'm proud to be here. I thought I would start out with a little prehistory to the city. Up until 1970, I-24 coming out of Nashville ended at Old Hickory Boulevard. All traffic had to exit I-24 and come to US 41 and came straight through Laverne. Governor Buford Ellington's 1966 campaign promised was to finish I-24 all the way to Chattanooga. Within a year or so, Seward Air Base closed in the early 70s, and a lot of the young people that I started high school with were shipped off to North Little Rock, to the air base there. And with the closing of I-24 and Seward Air Base, this was an economic, had a negative impact on the economics of the city of Laverne, or before the city. And another note of interest is they didn't put an exit until Amelville Road. Sam Ridley was not built to 1977, and so either you got off at Old Hickory Boulevard or you got off on Amelville Road, but there were no exits in between. In March of 1972 was the city's first election. There were 19 qualifying names on the ballot and one write-in candidate. So there were a total of 20 candidates on the original ballot. I was a senior at Smyrna High School, and I stayed out of school and passed out cards that said elect Vester Waldron. The top three candidates were Mayor Vester Waldron, receiving the most votes. He served 12 years as mayor and 4 years on the city council. A.C. Puckett was vice mayor, and then Ammon Chaney was elected to a 2-year term, and he was that's where the rotation started for the different candidates. Also, he was the manager of the First Tennessee Bank here in Laverne, which was originally the First National Bank of Murfreesboro. So Daddy always said Mr. Chaney always was concerned about the finances to make sure we had sound finances. I brought a prop. This is the senior class of Smyrna High School, 1943. Interesting enough, Daddy and A.C. Puckett graduated high school together. There are several other, Donnie Fergus's mother is in that picture, and the other Fergus is on the other Fergus Road. Miss Opal Fergus was in that class, and there were other Laverne citizens in Smyrna High School. Now, I spoke several years ago at Motlow, and I said, I am proud to have Motlow in the north end of the county. And I said, when I started high school, Laverne didn't have a high school. And they said, we didn't know that. But up until, I think, Laverne School opened in 1988. So let me get back to my notes. I strayed away. The first city council meeting was held at the Laverne Elementary School cafeteria. It's now the Roy Waldron Annex, but that was opened in 1962 when I was in second grade. And they had their first meeting there in in the cafeteria because we didn't even have a city hall. One of the first orders of business was to hire a city manager. And I do not remember who the first city manager was, but Homer Kuykendall served a long time while my father was mayor. Also Ben Andrews and also Richard Anderson served. Interesting thing about Ben Andrews, Smyrna hired him away as the director of utilities, so Daddy called up Knox Ridley, because Sam was mayor, and said, Knox, you want to be our city manager? So he and Sam loved picking on each other. City Hall was next door to the Sonic, where the used tire shop is now. And Virginia Frizzell was the first city recorder, and Dave Bolin was the first city attorney. I knew all these people. They would come to our house, and Daddy and Mama and I guess, close your ears, Scott. The Sunshine Law may not have worked quite as well back then as it does now. Also, I would like to highlight some of Daddy's proudest moments while serving the city of Laverne. Most of these happened as mayor, but he may have been city council in some of these. But the number one was the police department. Do you know if you had an emergency in Laverne or a business was broken into, we had to call the sheriff's department, and the quickest they could get here was about 30 minutes. There was no dispatch, there was no other precincts. They all came from the sheriff's department in Murfreesboro. So having police right here was a great accomplishment for the city of Laverne. I remember growing up, I was not athletic, so I didn't have to deal with this, but there were no parks and there were no ball fields in Laverne. If you played ball, you had to either go to Nashville. I remember going and watching friends play at the corner of Nolensville Road and Thompson Lane, or playing in Smyrna. But there were no ball fields in Laverne. The roads were maintained by the county. They were oil and chipped, and they got patched about every 4 to 6 years whenever the road superintendent was up for re-election. And we laughed. When I learned to drive, Waldron Road was more potholes than it was road. And we used to laugh about rolling Volkswagens off in it upside down just to patch the road. And now it's a 5 or 6 lane road. But it was just a little old 2-lane road at that time. City sewer. Prior to Laverne becoming a city, most septic tanks failed because Laverne has red clay, and red clay does not perk. And our sewer ran down on my Uncle Paul. My Uncle Paul's sewer just ran out in the ditch, and that's the way it was. But the Rutherford County Health Department put a moratorium on building in the city of Laverne, or the community of Laverne, because they couldn't allow or couldn't put any more health permits in Laverne. So until Laverne was stymied from about 1970 to 86 when the sewer came to Laverne, and that's when Laverne began to bust at the seams. And Laverne High School, I remember Daddy and my Uncle Roy, who the junior high is named after, worked to get a high school in Laverne. And like I said, it opened in 1988. The Roy L. Waldron was the junior high school, and it opened in 1976. And it was a great thing. I remember going to the dedication of Laverne High School. And the principal's here today, so we're glad to have the Laverne High School in our midst. And there was an article in the Nashville Tennessean, it's now just the Tennessean, but in the Nashville Tennessean, calling Laverne the dark spot on 41. That had nothing to do with anything, but we had no street lights. You had street lights up to the county line. You got Smyrna city limits, you had street lights. So getting street lights was an accomplishment for the city of Laverne. And NES started putting up the street lights. The first street light that was put up up on the corner of Old Nashville Highway, Buckhannon, and Fergus Road, and Daddy's house was right across the street, and people got mad because the first street light went up at the mayor's house. And Daddy said, I can't tell NES what to do. It was just where they started. So I remember that as a funny anecdote that people just got mad because that was the first street light. I wanted to say a few things about the Laverne special events. The Old Timers Day was held, and all the events were where Little Caesars is now. That was a vacant lot. And I don't know if you know it or not, and y'all may not even know it, but Channel 17 covered the parade. Channel 17 was the new kid in town, and you had the ABC affiliate, the NBC affiliate, and the CBS affiliate, and you had Channel 17, and they covered the parade. I hope they have it in the archives, Mayor. And but that was the first Old Timers Day was covered by Channel 17. In 1976, we had our bicentennial celebration. My sister Teresa, I texted her and she reminded me of this, and I was not here. I was in college and on a campaign and doing some other things, and she said the parade was celebrating 300 years of marriage or weddings. My sister and her fiance were dressed as the 1876 couple, and they were engaged, and my daddy wanted her to get married during the parade, and for some reason she resisted. Miss Carol Cook catered Teresa's wedding in August, and it was not at the parade, was it, Carol? Teresa told me, she said, I won the quilt that was made by the Home Demonstration Club that year, and I still have it. So, and one of the parade floats was Buford Nelson, also known as Buttermilk, was in the float in a rocking chair telling stories of the old days to the children that were on the float. And that is a great memory. The twinning of the cities happened in the early 80s, and a delegation from the Laverne community went to Laverne, France for the twinning ceremonies. Kay Trobral took students from her French class to France with that group. A year or so later, the delegation came from France to the Laverne, to the city of Laverne, Tennessee, and they got to see a tour of Laverne. They got to go where Mr. Rolack is buried over near the interchange of I-24 and Waldron Road, and they went to the Grand Ole Opry and Opryland, and they saw all the sights from the Nashville, Middle Tennessee area. As part of the city's festivities, my mother and her friends fixed and served a Southern meal, including fried corn, in hers and Daddy's backyard in their picnic pavilion. And what we didn't realize, this was somewhat of an insult to the French because they consider corn for pigs. So we fed them pig food, I guess. But I remember serving tea at that event, and I had sweet in the right and unsweet in the left, and I could pour with both hands at the same time. But we entertained them, and later we had a church worship service on Sunday at Laverne Church of Christ, and it was bilingual. It was in English and in French. Sorry. I think it's appropriate to mention Louis de Laverne of New Orleans helped the two Lavernes work through their twinning process. He was a relative of the Rolacks, and he was very helpful in working through that. In 1988, Daddy decided not to run for re-election. I ran for city council and won in May of 1988. At the same time, the citizens voted to change the city charter from a councilman to a city alderman, and another election was held on July 1st. I got 100 more votes, but was not re-elected. I served 40 days and 40 nights, much like Noah. I am officially the shortest serving elected official in the Laverne's history. I am proud to be a lifelong citizen of Laverne and appreciate being asked to be a part of the 50th anniversary.
Thank you so much, sir. Next up, I'm going to invite up Tom Clark, who is the owner of our local State Farm agency. Mr. Clark?
So trying to think where to start, but how did I get here? It was 1988, and I had come in from Nissan, and Jack Moore and Dave Bolin, Ray Thomas and myself met in in Smyrna at the time, and we said, hey, we're coming to Laverne, and just like it was yesterday, Dave Bolin said, you must come, and you must be 2 blocks west of the traffic light. And we said, well, we're coming in January of 1989. Where has the time come and gone? 1989. Ironically, I'm talking to this group today, and I've been traveling that road for 33 years. Today is my anniversary for starting that agency here in Laverne. But had a lot of successes, and I tell you, we got into the fiber of everything, starting with Jack Moore and David, and then A.C. Puckett. But I'm gonna name another person, Gerald Smith. Gerald and I met, and that was the beginning of the relationship with First Tennessee Bank. And then A.C. Puckett, we strategized, and then we had the beginning of the Laverne Rotary. It just seems like it was yesterday. So my role, I guess, is to talk about the memories and going back to, you mentioned Laverne High School, and here's the graduate of Laverne High School. But there is Carl Buckner. He was the first principal there. So we were in all those driver's ed classes that we would teach during the years and all. It's truly amazing. To say what else in terms of that, but the memories, the continuation of the business and all, and then to learn and see so many clients in this room. But I still love this work. I will continue it. And it was Laverne, 50 years of being a city. 50 years, I've been married in 72. Thank you so much for having an opportunity to speak. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Clark, and congratulations on your own anniversary. So next up, I'm going to bring up Mit Patel, who is the owner of the Laverne Beverage Depot. Mr. Patel?
I'm going to keep mine pretty short and simple, but first of all, thank you for everyone being here. And I haven't been in Laverne as long as everyone else has, but in the last 15 years I've spent in Laverne. My dad started up Laverne Liquors right by Advanced Auto Parts, right next. It's probably the first liquor store we had down here, and a lot of people, Graham and they've helped open and find a lot for the new one that we have right down the street, Laverne Beverage Depot. But a lot of what I've seen in Laverne is just the growth as I was a kid. Like, there was not much there. There was one fast food restaurant, McDonald's, and then I guess a year or two later, Taco Bell opened up. So just me growing up and seeing the city really develop has been huge. And what I thought was, like, we're at 30,000 population around 10 years ago, and we almost got 10,000 more as of today. So a lot of people moving into this city outside of Nashville and stuff. So it's been really nice. But just, I really didn't really have much for you guys today, but I just want to really appreciate how much growth I've seen in Laverne, especially like the interstate. There was a one-lane road what I always used to travel down to, and now they've really built the construction. A lot more businesses have opened up, so many more job opportunities. So good job with everything you guys are doing, and can't see what we have more to come through.
Thank you so much. Next, I want to invite up our own Laverne High School graduate and now principal, Dr. Theowana Hatchett.
All right, well, good evening, everybody. I'm excited to be here celebrating with you guys. Obviously, I grew up in Laverne, so this is obviously an honor for me to be here. And Laverne has changed over the years. I went to Laverne High School, so it's such a blessing to just be in this position, to be the principal and have the opportunity to just shape and mold the lives of our youth. So I've stepped into this role, and I appreciate the embracing of the community. And I'm overjoyed to just have the opportunity to pour into our kids. At Laverne High School, obviously, we value academic scholarship, integrity, citizenship, all of those things. And we have a lot of programs that we're implementing to prepare our students for the future. And one thing I want to point out, just a few things to highlight, I'm not sure if everybody's aware, but we recently partnered with Motlow State Community College. We have an early college, and our students, our juniors and our seniors, are on that campus, and they're actually graduating with not only their high school diploma, but also their Associate of Science and General Studies. So that has been an awesome thing that we're doing with our kids. And to date, we've had 72 students graduate thus far. We're on track to have 29 more coming up. And I think one thing that this program offers our students is an opportunity to be ahead of their peers. So a lot of the universities and colleges in Tennessee do accept that, so they're walking in as juniors. So they're coming in with an advantage. They're more likely to complete. So this is something we want to continue doing and bring into our students those opportunities to be successful. And recently, those graduates are actually enrolling in some of the top universities. So Ivy League schools, I had a few students be accepted into Princeton, NYU, Vandy. So all of those schools are seeing Laverne students, and they're coming back and doing great things. So I think that's one amazing thing that's going on at Laverne. Another thing I want to highlight is just our career and technical educational programs. These are our programs which allow our students to have the hands-on experience from industry and things like that. So these are people who come in the school setting, and we kind of work with them to become teachers and provide those opportunities that they can become a teacher easier. And I think these are the programs that keep our kids in school. So some of our popular programs at Laverne are IT, which is obviously computer technology types things, cosmetology, criminal justice, as well as broadcasting and audiovisual. So our kids, this is what makes them want to be there. And oftentimes these opportunities allow them to get certifications prior to even exiting high school. So this is preparing them for the workplace. So these are things that allow them to be successful post-secondary. So some of our kids want to go to they want to go to college. Some of them want to go straight into the workforce, and some of them want to go to the technical school path. So I think Laverne is doing a great job of making sure we're meeting our kids where they are and providing those opportunities for them. So those are some of the great things, because sometimes you always hear the negative, but we have such a great group of students. I have a great group of teachers that have a heart for our kids, and I'm just excited to be at Laverne and be a part of this community. We want to continue to partner with the city, continue to partner with the businesses as well. We do offer work-based learning. So this is when we have those kids who are in IT, which we have a store, IT store. So if you had a computer and you needed it fixed, Laverne High School could fix it. But we also have students during their senior year where we need to partner with different businesses so that they have opportunities to work and get that experience. So these are some of the things where we just want to put them out there so we can continue to produce those positive things out of them and have good citizens here in Laverne that are pouring back into our community. So I just welcome you guys to partner with me. You guys are definitely welcome to reach out with me. There's some great things happening at Laverne. I would love to sit down with any of you guys and just kind of talk about how we can move forward continually in a positive direction, because I think we're playing the role in the future of Laverne by producing students who are good citizens and who have the ability to earn wealth and be successful in the community. So thank you guys for everything you're doing, and it's great. Laverne is great.
Thank you so much for sharing with us the Laverne exceptionalism there at Laverne High School. Next up, I want to bring up Representative Mike Sparks, who's going to present a state proclamation as well as one from the governor.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm sorry to be late. Nashville traffic's pretty bad, and I try not to break any laws on the way over here. Stay out of the HOV lane, that sort of thing. Well, it's an honor to be a part of this ceremony. I was just sitting there thinking about A.C. Puckett. If y'all remember A.C. Puckett, A.C. Puckett was a friend of mine, and Mayor and Alderman Waldron. My assistant and I videoed him. We've probably got about 30 to 45 minutes of video of A.C. Puckett, who was a co-founder of the city of Laverne, and he also Miracle Baptist Church. In fact, there's a little bridge named after him on the way into Smyrna, but he was a great guy, just a great friend of mine, and he could sure play some racquetball if y'all knew him. He beat me at racquetball. It's kind of embarrassing, you know. But I see a lot of officials here. Appreciate everybody that's here today. I'll read this proclamation. My fellow lawmakers couldn't make it. Charlie Baum has a bill, and Don White had a previous engagement. Whereas we take pleasure in observing special occasions that preserve and celebrate the history of the municipalities that comprise the great state, and whereas the citizens of Laverne are most assuredly deserving of recognition as they celebrate the 50th anniversary of the incorporation of their historic city, and whereas in 1972, the city of Laverne was incorporated in the provision of the Tennessee Constitution to provide service to the state within its corporate limits, and whereas during the half century since its incorporation, Laverne has experienced tremendous growth, diversification, and prosperity, and continues its commitment to serve its citizens, and whereas in recent years, Laverne has been seeing exponential population growth and currently boasts an estimated population of more than 41,000 people. Boy, Commissioner Gammon, think about how it was back in the day. Hardly anybody here. Whereas Laverne has also seen development growth and has worked to ensure that the city is a place for everyone, whereas the citizens of Laverne are extremely proud of their historic community and have been ever vigilant in keeping the fair city's heritage and visibility to the community and the state as a whole, whereas the existence of Laverne is a testament to the resilience of the people who have called the city home. Though beset with daunting obstacles throughout the years, the residents have never given up their home. And whereas Laverne hopes that its vision will permeate throughout all of those who call Laverne home as the city honors its past and continues to build on its future, whereas the citizens of Laverne have added and continue to add immeasurably to the strength and character of Tennessee. Their history and accomplishments have helped build the cultural richness for which the state is known, and whereas it is most appropriate that we honor this fine community and its citizenry as they commemorate the significant milestone on this historic existence. Now, therefore, I, Speaker Sexton of the 112th General Assembly, at the request of conjunction with Representative Mike Sparks, do hereby claim that we honor and congratulate the citizens of Laverne upon the 50th anniversary of this incorporation on their fair city and extend to them our best wishes for continued success and growth and prosperity in this outstanding community. Congratulations, Mayor. Congratulations, Alderman. Right there, this one. This is from the governor himself. He gave a great speech last night, if y'all watched today's state address. A lot of investment for education, infrastructure, TCATs, so many areas. But this is from the governor, by Bill Lee, Governor, on behalf of the people of Tennessee. By virtue of the authority vested in me, I therefore confer upon the city of Laverne the 50th anniversary, a day of recognition given under my hand and great seal of the state of Tennessee in Nashville, the first day of February 2022. Congratulations, Mayor. Anything else? All right, thank you all.
With that, I want to thank you all for being here. This is a very historic day for our city, and we're so thankful that you chose to celebrate it with us. We want to welcome you all to get one of our commemorative pins, as well as the Green Trees book that we've got up here for you. Thank you.